and welcome back to my channel, which is dedicated to philosophy, music and culture in general. So I am philosopher, aesthetician and musician, violinist. And today I would like to talk about Jean-Jacques Rousseau and especially about his profession of faith of Savoyard Vicar. The treatise A Meal or on Education is published by Jean-Jacques Rousseau in 1762 and caused some contemporaries, for example, Voltaire, a negative reaction. Voltaire called the book A Meal or on Education. This is the reasoning of a stupid nurse in 4 volumes, in which 40 pages are directed against Christianity. And due to a section of the book, exactly these 40 pages, Profession of Faith of the Savoyard Vicar, Emile was banned in Paris and Geneva and even was burned, publicly burned in 1762. The year of its first publication. So, during the French Revolution, Emile served as an inspiration for what became a new national system of education. It's dedicated to the education in general. And what about music and connection with music? For me, it's especially important, of course. And by the way, the music of Viennese classicism was largely inspired by the ideas of Enlightenment and, of course, by ideas of Rousseau. And this was mentioned, for example, by Nietzsche. And this is especially true of music of Beethoven. At first, Beethoven is infatuated with Napoleon, and then he tears up the dedication of the Third Symphony, which was at first dedicated to Napoleon, and after that he dedicates chamber opuses, for example, Sonatas, violin Sonatas 6, 7 and 8, to the Emperor's Liberator, Alexander I. As the alternative point of view in this period about Emile, we can mention the views of French materialists, for example, Denis Diderot. So, what about this vicar? The vicar presents his religious views first in the form of reflections and polemics with atheists. He suggests a variant of natural religion, so-called natural religion, based on principles common to all people, since all people are the same nature, the same blood, the same breed with me, and it's necessary to contemplate the spectacle of nature and listen to the inner voice, our inner voice, without distorting the image of God with human passions. The passions are conceived by Rousseau as fanaticism, intolerance of other people's, humans' faith. Through relentless reflection, the vicar creates his own dogmas. And these dogmas of faith based on the natural light or natural sense of reason. I don't know exactly how it would be better to say. So natural light of reason. The first dogma is that the will moves to the universe. The will moves the universe and animates all creature. Animates nature. Since matter moves according to known laws, these laws indicate understanding. This is the second dogma. He compares the human mind to a dwarf who sees the open mechanism of a clock, a huge clock, but doesn't see the unity of the design of this clock, but only the well-adjusted and fitted part. Here comes to mind a parallel with the Dutch philosopher, as you know, maybe Goelings, philosopher Goelings, who believed that the soul and body of man are regulated by God as two pairs of identical clocks, so that there is a correspondence between the soul and body, and it's a very popular topic for the philosophy nowadays, as you know. And when viewed from outside, it's impossible to establish an exact connection, because this is a coincidence established from eternity. The third dogma of this Vicar is derived from the teleology of the world. Since there is and cannot be any result without producing cause, man is free in his action and is animated by an immaterial force or so-called substance. Voltaire here remarked that man is no exception among the creatures on the earth in his freedom. And he asked, for example, doesn't my dog do what it wants? It's nonsense, of course, but Rousseau continues with his figure of this vicar. I only know that the truth is in things and not in my mind. We judge things, and that the less I put my own opinion, my own mind into my judgments about them, about all creatures, the more certain I am that I'm approaching to them, to the truth about these creatures, about this world. Thus, my rule of trusting more to feeling than to reason is confirmed by reason itself. Here, in my opinion, we can recall the comment of Bertrand Russell. Maybe you remember that the theological works of Immanuel Kant, by the way, are only a pedantic version of the Savoyard Vicar. According to the Vicar, the variety of cults that exists on earth is associated with the fantasy of revelations. The word distorts the divine revelation, while the appeal to the religion of the heart doesn't give such distortions. If natural religion and the cult of the heart are sincere, then they are pleasing to God, because He wants to be worshipped in spirit and truth, and in our soul, not only in our mind. The uniformity of the ministry should be inspired by revelation, but not by policy regulations of fanatics. Sectarians based their teaching on books written by human person, by man, by human mind, while it's enough to look at the natural order to understand the miraculous providence. All the miracles that strike the imagination of people are just the result of their limitations, and they are, in fact, not worthy of God. The God who condemns most of these creatures to eternal torment is not the merciful and good God that my mind has shown me. It follows that truth, faith must be consistent with the natural light of reason and contingent with this reason, and be clear to reason, of course. And the three main European religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, are the winners in disputes on their territory. But for Rousseau, a completely impossible thesis is the statement of Christians that people of non-Christian faith, non-Christian religion will be condemned. So if the teaching presented to us only meaningless propositions, if it aroused in us a feeling of disgust or disgust for our own fellow men. If it presented to us a god of wrath, intolerance, jealousy, vengeance, partiality, hatred of man, a god of war and battle, always ready to destroy and crush, always talking about torments, punishments, and boasting that he punishes the innocent, my heart wouldn't be drawn to such a terrible god. And this is a very significant point of view, of course, and these will be repeated many times in different contexts, for example, during the German idealism, or rather in the context of Russian philosophy, for example, Nikolai Berdyaev. Maybe you know this figure of Russian philosophy. He was very popular in France. Okay, thank you for your attention, and we'll see you soon. Thank you, and all good to you.